In Tesla's most recent quarterly earnings letter, the company stated that it plans to grow 50% on average over multiple years. This is something that Elon Musk has also reiterated time and time again. While the statement is still a little vague, by not confirming the number of years being talked about, they are at least telling us that they are referring to vehicle delivery growth as opposed to revenue or earnings growth. Tesla's statement reads, "We are planning to grow our manufacturing capacity as quickly as possible. Over a multi-year horizon, we expect to achieve 50% average annual growth in vehicle deliveries. In some years, we may grow faster, which we expect to be the case in 2021. The rate of growth will depend on our equipment capacity, operational efficiency, and capacity and stability of the supply chain." Over the past 8 years, Tesla's vehicle deliveries have in fact been growing each year, but some years the company experiences more growth than others. For example, Tesla saw 138% growth between 2017 and 2018 as Model 3 production came online, but only 35% growth in the prior year and just 36% this past year during the pandemic. Tesla's growth rate in deliveries has been lumpy and is highly dependent on their Gigafactory capacity. Their average growth rate in 2015, so over the last 5 years, has been 58% compounded, while over the last 8 years, it's closer to 93%, given that they've started off a smaller base of just 2,600 cars. So for Tesla to predict that the average growth rate will be 50% on average over the coming years is very positive for investors to see, as it means Tesla could once again multiply their current 500,000 car per year rate by 10 times to 5 million cars during that time period, similar as to what they did between 2015 and 2020, growing at a 58% clip. However, many people are taking Tesla's statement to mean that the company will grow at 50% this year in 2021, so from 500,000 vehicles to 750,000 vehicles this year, which is possible, but something seems wrong with that. Tesla also stated that some years it may be higher, and so usually the earlier years have higher growth since they're coming off a lower base, whereas in the later years it's more difficult to continue showing large numbers at extremely high growth rates. That said, prior to 5 years ago, Tesla didn't have a Gigafactory, and now Elon Musk has stated multiple times that the car isn't really the product, it's the factory that's the product. Tesla also figured out the formula to put up Gigafactories very quickly, and so the growth rate of Gigafactories around the world might be a better metric to watch out for, since this will ultimately help determine how much capacity Tesla has. Gigafactories themselves can grow their individual production rates, but for now it appears as though each Gigafactory will be able to produce around 500,000 vehicles per year. The newer factories may be more efficient and can expand beyond that, but that may take more time. Tesla is aiming to have 4 functioning factories by the end of the year. However, 2 of them, Texas and Berlin, will be in the early phases and may take some time to ramp up, reducing their contribution to deliveries for 2021. However, at the end of 2020, Fremont and Giga Shanghai's production capability was already over 1 million vehicles per year. While Tesla isn't at full capacity currently, this chart represents the state of production on January 1st, 2021, so this is what Tesla is entering the year with. If they can get production as close to capacity as possible, and even further increase capacity throughout the year, they may be able to achieve 1 million vehicle deliveries this year, or perhaps more depending on when Texas and Berlin come online, which may be mid-year, adding even more capacity. Thus, Tesla could grow at 100% this year, from 500,000 vehicles last year to 1 million vehicles this year if they don't run into any major roadblocks. Furthermore, there are other forces at work, so let's have a look at what percentage of their total capacity Tesla was actually operating at. In Q4 of this year, they produced just over 16,000 Model S and Model X's and 163,000 Model 3 and Y. And I'm interested in production to see how many cars they can actually make, because delivered cars could come from other quarters, or some cars may not have been delivered yet. Also, I want to use Tesla's third quarter capacity, which is what they entered the fourth quarter with, and that's because in the fourth quarter they added a lot of Model Y capacity in China, which didn't start delivering really until this year, and also they added new Model S and X capacity, which likely wasn't used, but was in preparation for the refresh to Plaid, which we highlighted in our last video. So if we divide their capacity entering the fourth quarter by 4 to get the quarterly capacity, and then compare it to their Q4 production, we can see that only 71% of their Model S and X capacity was actually in use, compared to 87% of the Model 3 and Y factory. So I think that entering 2021, we're going to once again see reduced capacity usage in the first quarter as Tesla has transitioned its Model S and X lineup to produce Plaid vehicles, and they won't be delivering those until February, so we're going to see a temporary dip in sales. But I think that over the course of the year, Tesla will be able to get their production closer to full capacity as these new cars not only have great, unique features that people have been waiting for, but will also use many more parts in common with Model 3 and Y, which are being mass-produced and are easier to manufacture, as we highlighted in our last video. For Model 3 and Y, I think that Model 3 will remain strong, but in China, Tesla is really ramping up Model Y quickly. So again, while the first quarter may see low usage of their capacity as Tesla begins ramping up the Model Y, I think they will quickly get closer to their full capacity in the second quarter of the year. Tesla needs to deliver 250,000 vehicles per quarter to hit 1 million for the year. Their best quarter from last year was 180,000. And so I think the first quarter of this year will be weaker as it usually is. I think that Tesla will quickly recover in the second quarter, and Giga Berlin and Texas will come online halfway through the year, which may contribute enough vehicles, maybe just a few thousand or tens of thousands of vehicles, which will give another boost to Tesla's production in the latter half of the year, just like we saw in 2020. And so I think they'll be on a run rate far above even 250,000 vehicles by the end of the year to set themselves up for massive growth in 2022 as well. Even Tesla analyst Pierre Ferragu, who has been absolutely right on his Tesla predictions the last few years, says that he is also confused about Tesla's claimed growth rate, at least for the time being, and believes that growth will be closer to 100% this year versus the 50% that many people are expecting based on Tesla's guidance.
The story is still amazing. They have 1 million car production capacity today. Yesterday on the call, they say they will exceed 50% growth. I think this year they will grow closer to 100% than 50% their car manufacturing.
Finally, it looks like Tesla made a few changes to their production status between Q3 and the recent Q4. Model 3 in Germany seems to have been removed, and so Giga Berlin looks like it will only do Model Y for the time being. But what's really interesting is that Tesla added something called Future Product, which is still to be determined, but is now in development. We've been hearing some buzz that Tesla's Giga Shanghai factory may be preparing a compact car, which they could be close to unveiling soon. Alternatively, it's interesting that Tesla removed Model 3 from Giga Berlin, and so perhaps this is being replaced with a European-made vehicle such as a hatchback that Elon Musk has alluded to in the past that may have better potential for the European environment and could propel their growth rate in 2022. A cheaper compact car coming out of China or a hatchback for the European market could drastically boost Tesla's production rate and truly hit the mass market, which could help them keep above a 50% growth rate for the next number of years. We highlighted 3 new $25,000 vehicles that Tesla appears to be working on in this video here, so be sure to check that out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button, we'd super appreciate that. You can also support us further on Patreon at patreon.com/themarketisopen. Your support helps us to continue to make great content. Thank you guys so much for watching.